Cats and Coffee with Ray McHatton. Ray, hi, good morning to you. How are you this morning?
I'm well. How are you, Cindi?
Doing very well, and I'm so excited. We got the very first edition, and
It went well, though.
it did. And this is our second installment, and I have my Scottish Wildcat from the Avis Field Center, Save the Wildcat, so coffee mug here.
Nice.
And yeah, so I really enjoyed, I don't know if you did, and I had so much fun doing that with you. And I know we're just going to have so much fun this year doing Cats and Coffee. And last week we did a review of Burn Suppers. We kind of talked about all of the Highland Games we're going to be attending this year, and just touched on some things for Clan Hatton as we get into this rhythm of connecting with people around the world. And yeah, and also just getting the word out about where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing, and the places we'd like to be able to see people. And come here if you can't join us in person, or come here as well, just because there'll be extra information. So last week was our very first Cats and Coffee. Wednesday, we had our very first On the Trail, and that was a recorded tour of the Glenmorangie distillery in Scotland. So that's very exciting. So we'll be doing more of On the Trail. And for those of you who don't know where that came from, here's this little On the Trail booklet, and you might have one that looks like this. There's some that have a cover in black. We're in the process of printing more of these. These are really fun. People like these. When you join as a member, you get one of these along with your Touch Knot magazine, which you don't want to miss. And this is really fun because it has all of these clans, all of the Clan Hatton clans. There's 12 of us, just for those of you who are joining us for the first time. Clan Hatton is an association, was a confederation, the only one of its kind in Scotland, made up of these 12 major clans. Ray, take it away.
Right. So February is Farquharson month. One of our 12 clans is Farquharson, of course. So now that we're a week into February, we're into it a little bit. So for some of you that aren't familiar with what the Confederation is, probably everyone's familiar with one of the 12 clans, at least because you probably belong to one of the 12 this way watching us right now. Farquharson's one of the 12 clans in the Confederacy. I term it, because I live in New England, I term it as I am a Massachusetts resident, and we also call ourselves New Englanders here. So each and every one of the persons that belong to one of the 12 clans also belongs to the Clan Hatton Confederation by default. It's you might call it an umbrella. It's not really overhead of anyone. It's just a title that the Confederation has. It's a result of a document they signed over 400 years ago now to become a confederation, and Farquharson is one. February is Farquharson month on Clan Hatton Association channel and on the Touch Knot channel on YouTube.
Yes, and we're so excited. And for Clan Hatton as well, we're going to be throwing in some McIntosh. We're trailing behind the Touch Knot channel, and we were meant to highlight McIntosh in January. So we're gonna sprinkle some McIntosh on our channel, just a little bit here and there, to do some catch up. Being a McIntosh myself, I need to make sure that we do that. But I'm very excited about our topic of conversation today. And would you like to go ahead and get started? And just as my preface, I referenced, we're talking all things Colonel Anne. And
yes,
for those of you who are not familiar with this Rebelle, Les Rebelles, as Bonnie Prince Charlie called her, because he spoke French. Here's the book I'm referencing. And this was written by Jean McIntosh Goldstrom. And I know that there's a couple more books out there. Robert Bain's Clans and Tartans of Scotland. There's lots of information on the internet. Ray, how about tell us where you got your information, and just let you lead the discussion.
Right. So people may not be aware that this lady on the book that you just showed, she's a Farquharson. She married the chief of McIntosh. All right, right about the 1745 rebellion. I'm not sure when they got married. Okay, it doesn't say Farquharson on the front, though, does it? People may not know it. She's a Farquharson by birth. That was her maiden name Right. So the story of the Road to Moy is before the Battle of Culloden. They had Prince Charlie as a guest, or I suppose in hiding, they call it, at the Moy Castle or the Moy grounds, the McIntosh estate. At the time, the husband, Chief of McIntosh, was off. He was supporting the government troops, the royalist troops, the Hanoverians they're called sometimes. His wife was acting a rebel, as that book title says she was. She rode around the Highlands and raised the clans. Raised them means roused them and alerted them, recruited them, you could say, on behalf of Prince Charlie, who was the opposing force against the Hanoverian troops. While he was there, they decided to come and intercept him from Inverness, a large body of the military, Lord Loudon leading them, I believe. The McIntosh's regiment was probably there too. There was 3 regiments or 3 bodies there together. They marched towards Moy, and Lady McIntosh, I want to say Lady Farquharson, Lady McIntosh, she had 5 men go out to meet them. They sat along the woods and waited for these guys to come. There was about midnight, and a large body was coming, over 1,000 men. They made a lot of noise. They fired some guns. They clashed some swords together and yelled and screamed as if they were many hundreds. And what they did worked. The whole body of that troop turned around, headed back for Inverness in the dark. They were successful.
There were 1,500
Mm-hmm.
in that body. It's absolutely incredible. I feel like her story is so incredible to me. She was born in 1723. So at the time of the Culloden battle, she was only 23 years old.
Good point.
She was very young, and she was born in Braemar. Her grandparents were John Murray, the first Marquess of Atholl, and Margaret Murray. And then her grandparents were Lord James Murray and Margaret Murray. Margaret Murray. And she was the wife of Angus McIntosh, chief of Clan McIntosh, who was the captain of the Black Watch at the time. And so this is very interesting because he was arrested and held by Prince Charles' army for a time, and he actually released Lord McIntosh into the custody of his wife, Lady Anne, which is interesting. But she was known as Colonel Anne, and I love that. I don't know if that was an official title that was given to her.
The story goes that when he surrendered to her husband, he said, "At your service." She said, "At your service, Captain," to him, actually, and he said, "No, at your service, Colonel," to her. I believe that's supposedly the moment when she was dubbed Colonel.
I know she didn't actually ride into the battle personally. It's said that she watched from horseback from a hill nearby.
Course, yes.
But I love this book by Jean McIntosh Goldstrom. She talks about going to the Culloden battlefield and going to Moy that time of year when all of this took place. And it was very windy the day that Jean was on the battlefield. And I've played pipes out there in the summertime and been very cold. It's been very windy near the cairn. But she talks about going out there on the battlefield and how windy and cold it was. And all she wanted to do was go back inside and not actually go out and tour the battlefield. The same on the anniversary of the actual battle. And she just talks about how cold it is and how the Clan Hatton and the McIntoshes would never be, ones to go back inside. And so she forced herself to go out and see markers on the battlefield of where everything was. And
right.
As the Rout of Moy was taking place, that Colonel Anne was notified by her mother-in-law, who lived not too far away, that the troops were heading towards Moy. And in fact, this is the mother to Angus McIntosh of McIntosh, the chief of the McIntoshes, also the chief of Clan Hatton at that time. And so, people often wonder what side Angus really, where his heart was, and if he wasn't also, his heart wasn't also alongside Anne's in that, with the Jacobites. And just because of his mother's involvement in the notification, the helping and lending a helping hand. But of course he couldn't do that. And you can see the clans where the chiefs were actually involved in that battle. They were stripped of everything. Mm-hmm. And this is something, of course, that Angus was trying to avoid. Yes. Because it wasn't just about him, wasn't just about their home, it was about the entire clan in Clan Hatton and in the Highlands.
Sure, he had priorities to think about more than his own family. That's right. It's his wide family.
Yes, and leading of the whole of Clan Hatton. But it's very fascinating. So if anybody has a chance to read more, I know that, when the last 2 years when I've been at Moy in August, there have been some gentlemen coming in, and maybe I can try to have them come on the Clan Hatton site and give us a little update of what they've got going on. But they're trying to make a movie about Colonel Anne's life. Anne McIntosh, or Lady McIntosh, or Anne Farquharson, however you want to say it. I know that technically it is Anne Farquharson, but a lot of people don't know her or wouldn't know her as a historical figure unless you called her Colonel Anne McIntosh or Lady Anne McIntosh, and then they know pretty immediately who she is. And yes. I think it's just a wonderful idea to highlight some of the women, not only in history, but in modern times in Scotland too.
So I'll be retelling that story on the Touch Knot pretty soon this month too. That Road of Moy story.
Oh, that's wonderful. And all the more reason why, you need to get your Touch Knot magazine. And you can do that by, if you're not already a member, make sure you have renewed your membership for the Clan Hatton Association. And again, the link to the site's down below. And right. Or become a member, and you will get this beautiful magazine. Ray writes beautifully. And so you're going to see in here his different articles and the things he writes about. It's very fascinating. But also you'll see other information. They have sections for nearly each and every clan of Clan Hatton, updates what's going on. So here you have about McBain Park, and there'll be pictures, and then near the back there's just pictures about what's going around what's going on around the world in Clan Hatton. I can't talk this morning. I need to drink more coffee.
It's okay. It's very well put together magazine. Really is. It's a fabulous job. Donald McIntosh does a fantastic job putting it all together, coordinating all of it, putting up with us that probably sometimes submit a little bit later than he wants to, things like that. He does a great job with it.
I know. And I always tell him I'm going to submit something, and I never do. I throw pictures at him, and that's pretty much all. So maybe maybe our YouTube channel will kind of make up for that and let people know what we're doing in the world, where we're at, and sure. What's going on. So in terms of Clan Hatton, we posted last week, all of the Highland Games that you and I are doing. I've reached out and trying to see if we have any others going on in the continental United States for 2024, so we can add that into the calendar. And what have you got going on this month? Do you want to talk about anything you've got going on?
Sure. First of all, on the subject of Highland Games, one other came up that since we mentioned some of them last week. There'll be another date we'll be in Charlestown, New Hampshire, at a place called the Fort Number 4. It's a reenactment fort from a British fort from the French and Indian War. and they have a Scottish festival type of thing there every year now. They probably the fifth or so year. So we're going to go up to that. That's going to be another appearance of what I mentioned is the No Fame Games. That's going to be the athletic games for that event. It's going to be the No Fame Games. It's going to be something people in New England will start to recognize. They'll be up there, and then they'll be at Milford, Massachusetts in June as well, like I said. So as far as this month goes, on the Touch Not channel, we're going to have a few what I call cattails and claw marks. They're little episodes I've been writing and putting together with some still photos, some music. I have two musicians on the Touch Not with me, 14 and 16-year-old McPhersons, and one's a bagpiper, the other one plays the snare drum and the Scottish traditional fiddle. So they're doing the tracks for me on the Touch Not channel. It's wonderful, and I'm able to write some narratives. I pretty much, so you'll see the story I just said, only I said it on the fly right out of here then, but I wrote it down a little bit different. You'll see that version with their music behind it or over it and around it, whatever you want to call it. A couple of episodes of Farquharson history like that, whatever else we can come up with, some tartan content perhaps. I don't know whether we can get anybody on somehow to talk about Farquharson. I also want to mention, you had a book in your hand there a few minutes ago. This book, I don't know if everyone can see this or not.
Hold it up a little higher.
This is the 1715 Jacobite Rising from the Farquharson perspective, written by Stuart Farquharson. He's a friend of mine. This is on the McHatton Association website.
Wonderful.
All right, so this is a great book to get about Farquharson. Great gift for any Farquharson, and February's Farquharson month. So I have the couple other books here we can just show quickly if you don't mind, that are on the website as well.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure the cover looks like this on that one, but this is called The Clan Fail by John McFall. It's an excellent one about Clan Fail. Actually, it's a Clan Fail or Mac Fail. The Clan Fail, I'm sorry. That's how it's referred to, commonly as Fail, not Mac Fail. These are available on the McHatton Association website. And then this one, Tartans of the McHatton.
Yes.
Okay, this has, well, just what it says, a lot of information about all the colors. We're wondering where they came from, why some are so similar than others. And that's because we're related, folks. 12 are related. That's why McBean might look like a Hatton or Verspicer and McGilvray, etc. Certain lights or certain fabrics. It's because they are related. That's why they're similar. And this one here, probably the final one on the website, The History of the Clan McIntosh and the Clan Hatton by Margaret McIntosh. I believe this was 1947 this was written. Yes. It's another good volume to get.
That's a wonderful book, and I just want to give a shout out to John McFall, who's a very dear friend, also fellow council member, and yes. That is a beautifully written book. I feel like I should go through, or we can do it together, go through some of these books and take one book at a time, at one of these little segments that we do, just because yes. it'll be great to go over, a chapter in a book and really kind of highlight the chapter or the book. I don't know if as we get through this year, we'll find out how much time we have for these things and how much interest people have, which reminds me, yes. Let us know in the comment section down below if there's something you would like to know about, if there's something you'd like for us to do or talk about. We're very happy to take suggestions and instruction as well alike. And I think that'll be fabulous. And we will keep you informed if we're going to be able to have a special guest this month from the Farquharson clan.
Excellent.
Fun. Yeah. So, we were going to be doing the Queen Mary Games this month. We're now not. They have, unfortunately, as we talked about last week, canceled Queen Mary yet again, hopefully 2025. Yes. So there's not much on our radar until in-person events until March. So we will be keeping up with you on that. And we will link again to Touch Not YouTube channel. Ray, you've done a fabulous job posting things there. It's great fun to go in there and watch the segments you've put in there. Yeah. And we'll link down below. you've got to put in at Ray McHatton. You'll see that down below, and then it's titled Touch Not. But if you search Touch Not itself, it might be a little difficult to find. You've got to use Ray's name to be able to link up with that site, and then just throw it in your favorites along with the Kleinhattan Association YouTube channel.
Subscribe, please.
Subscribe, and then it's just going to pop up, and you won't have to search for it ever again. You'll just pop up in your YouTube, and away we'll go.
Right. Please help us out. I'm 97 this 90. Please subscribe and help us grow. My goodness. Every day we get a few more, and people are liking this. And Cindy's right, people, about the comments. You know, we could go under the assumption that we're doing things that everyone likes, but we really don't know that until we hear back from you. So it's very helpful for you to participate and let us know what you think.
Yeah, perfect. Ray, it's been a pleasure once again to be here with you this morning. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend around the world, and we will be watching your YouTube channel and to see what you're posting next.
Please do.
Yeah, and then we'll be right back here Wednesday with the On the Trail, another edition of On the Trail. So everyone, have a wonderful weekend. Ray, my friend, it's a great pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. Touch Not.
Touch Not.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're enjoying Cats and Coffee on the Touch Not channel on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.